If you are new, I'm so glad to have you here. Like this video, subscribe, and join the coast. As you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking about the Daniel fast and my experience with it. And I cannot wait to talk to y'all about everything that happened. And it's crazy because it's like I've been hearing a lot of people doing the Daniel fast even right now. So I really do believe that this is a good time to make this video because I think God is really trying to get his children to fast so that way he can release some blessings to them. So if you haven't already read the book of Daniel and heard about the story about the Daniel fast, I suggest you go and read it first before watching this video, just so that way you can understand, or you can just stay tuned, okay? In Daniel chapter 1, there was a king who sent his chief of staff to look for young men to bring back to the palace. The young men that they were looking for were strong and healthy looking young men, because they were going to be trained in the areas of language, literature, gift of knowledge and good judgment, in order to be prepared to go into the royal service. So Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were the four of the young men that were selected to be trained. So the king was going to provide food for these young men, which was meat, wine, and whatever else. Well, Daniel didn't want to eat that food, so by request, he asked the chief of staff if he could just do a diet of vegetables and water. And the chief of staff told him, that he was afraid that he couldn't do that because if he became malnourished or pale and thin, then he was concerned that the king was going to have him beheaded. So Daniel just requested to be tested for 10 days on the diet to see what would happen. So after the 10 days, Daniel and his friends, they came out looking healthier than the young men that had been on the diet that was given to them by the king. And a plus to that was something else that God wanted to add was God had given Daniel a very special gift to interpret dreams and visions. And I'm going to leave it at that because I want you guys to go and read the rest if you haven't already. Alright, I'm going to give y'all a little backstory about what happened before I started the fast. So I am licensed as a master cosmetologist, which some of you know that already. And I graduated from cosmetology school in January of 2020. Well, when I graduated, I was happy that I graduated, and I was sad at the same time that I was coming back to Augusta because I didn't want to be here. So I was trying to be hopeful, in the middle of, or not even in the middle of it, because the pandemic didn't even hit yet. So January, February, March is when the pandemic hit, and I had just taken the first part of my state board exam, and then I had to wait a couple of more months before I could take the second part, so that way I could be completely licensed, because if you don't have your license with the state, you can't work. So I was in a hard position where I have one part done and I don't have the second part done. So I was just trying to be hopeful in the middle of it all. So when everything shut down, my nephew was in school, but he switched to being virtual, and he needed a mentor. So I started mentoring him, and that helped me out a lot because I got a chance to spend more time with him, and I also was getting paid for it, even though they didn't have to pay me for it, but they did. So it was still a blessing to me. So afterwards, the school year is over with, and it's during the summertime, and I'm finally getting to the point where I can take the second part of my exam, and I did, and I was licensed with the state. So that was great. But July, I would say the end of July, I applied for a job at a spa that was local in Augusta, and I'm not going to name the name of the spa or anything like that, but I really do regret, I do 50-50. I regret it and I don't regret working there, just because of the fact that it gave me a lot of insight and experience of what to do next. This is what it looks like to open a door by yourself versus letting God open the door for you. So I applied for a job at the spa. Or actually, I didn't even apply. I just called them and asked them if they were hiring, and they said that they were. So they called me and told me that I could come in for an interview. and I was getting my stuff together, making sure that I had went over everything I learned during school, everything that I did at State Board. I just want to make sure that I looked presentable and ready. So I went in for this interview, and it was nothing like what I thought. And you'll have to excuse my voice because my voice has been kind of sore recently. So I went in for the interview, and it wasn't anything like I expected. And I got hired on the spot. And that should have been like a red flag in the beginning to know, like, they didn't do a background check. It was just kind of like hurrying and getting people into the building. Long story short, I did not like it there at all. I only stayed there for the month of August. And the things I experienced there was being disrespected and belittled by the owner, being talked about behind my back by the owner. There was no schedule, no set like pay. There was like, I had to chase her like every single day, like either calling her, texting her to see if I would come in for work, because I was eager like to get myself together and to really be in my field. And it was just like, I regretted, like, I should have never just opened the door for myself. I should have really sought the Lord to see if that was a place that he wanted me to work at. So I quit, and I was out of work from, I would say, the end of August, September, October to November. And in that time frame, you know, because the school year had started back up again, I was mentoring my nephew again. But I was glad to spend time with him, but that wasn't what I wanted to do, because it's not what I went to school for. And I was like, God, I worked too hard to get to this point where I'm just mentoring. Like, I want to make sure that I'm actually at a place where I'm working in my field. At this point, it is mid-November, or almost mid-November, and it was one night I was sitting on my bed, and I was praying, and I was crying, and I was really, really mad, and I was telling God that I was sick and tired of being broke. I'm just gonna put it like that, y'all. Like, I was like, I'm tired of being broke. Like, there are things that I wanted to have, things that I wanted to do for my life, and I couldn't do it because I was just restricted in different areas of my life. So after praying to him and talking to him, I was just sitting there, and he told me to fast. And I didn't hesitate. Like, I started looking up videos, and I was trying to figure out what fast I was going to do and how to do it. And I will put in the description box below a link to a video of a girl named Melody Alyssa. And I love watching her videos, but she talked about the experience that she had with her Daniel fast, and that's what I watched before I started mine. And her testimony is great, so I think you should watch it when you have some time. I also just want to say that there's going to come a point when you are tired and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that your situation changes. And that's the point that I was at, where I prayed, but sometimes you can pray and you don't get your prayers answered because it's time to apply fasting. Matthew 6:18 says, "Then no one will notice that you're fasting except your Father who knows what you do in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you." In other words, when you go into fasting, like, you don't have to announce it to the whole world, like, oh, look at me, I'm fasting. But if you just take care of your business in private, then the Lord, who sees you fasting in private, will reward you publicly. And that's exactly what happened in my situation, but also with the other young lady who I was talking about earlier, in her situation as well. With it being mid-November, I knew that it was going to overlap over into December, so that meant I was going to miss, yeah, I missed it. I missed Thanksgiving dinner, but that was okay because the reward was greater. So sometimes you're like, you're going to miss out on different things when you're fasting, but that's fine because your reward is always greater. You're going to have to sacrifice something to get something greater. I did the fast for 21 days. No meats, no dairy products, no caffeine, so that means no tea, coffee, chocolate, and no sweets. It was hard in the beginning. Like, the first day I woke up and I was eating like these veggie nuggets and some apple slices, and I was like, what in the world is this? I was like, God, I'm tired of this. Like, this is nasty. I was like, it's the first day, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm eating veggie nuggets and apples. But God was like, I will sustain you. And he did. Like, the entire time, he really did get me through the fast. I mean, I had went to basketball games, and my sisters are sitting here offering me like candy and hot dogs, and I'm like, y'all know I can't have this kind of stuff. And they know I like candy, but I couldn't have it. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you were fasting, but it's okay. It is okay because I got exactly what I was asking for. So when you fast, just be aware, like your family members might offer you stuff that you can't have, but just be strong enough to say no because you want what you want. You know what God is going to do for you, so just give that slice of cake up. Like, you can get it after your fast. When you have your reward, you can celebrate with your reward with your slice of cake, okay? I was praying and seeking God, and He was moving very, very fast. It was day 5 when He answered my prayers. Like, 5 days into the fast, I heard back from another local spa that I had sent an application to a month or two before I started the fast. So they called me and they said that, hey, we got your application or whatever. We just want to schedule an interview for you to come in and we'll go from there. So I was really, really glad. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is happening. Like He is really moving fast. He's opening the doors for me. And He did, y'all. Let me tell you what happened next. Things were getting like really, really busy and hectic in my life at this time, and so I called them and I had an interview scheduled, but I called them back because I needed to cancel it. They were like, can I cancel it and can we reschedule the interview because I really want to come in? So that's what happened. And so I went back and I was telling another family member, and I'm not going to mention them, but I was talking to them and I was telling them like, oh yeah, their interview it got canceled or whatever, and they're like, oh good. And I said, good? Like, what do you mean good? And they were just like, oh, maybe it just wasn't the right time yet. Because they were kind of being selfish with me. Like, you got to know how to just be aggressive and go after the things that God has for you. You cannot stop anybody from going. I mean, you cannot let anybody stop you from going after what He has for you just because they want to be selfish with your life. So why did they say that to me? I was so mad, y'all. I was 38 hot when I left there. I got on the phone and I called the spa back and I was like, listen, things are happening in my life right now, but I just really want to let you all know that I really do want to come in for an interview. So I know that I canceled it and I apologize, but can we reschedule it? And they did. They were like, yeah, we can reschedule it. And so they called me back a few days later and we got it situated and I went in for the interview. So whenever God has something for you, like, you or other people cannot stop what He has for you. I don't care how much you try because He already ordains it in heaven. So it's going to happen whether you like it or not. When He opens the door for you, you better move your feet and you better walk through the door and grab what's yours. So this is the day of the interview. I go in and there's 2 parts. There's the question and answer part, and then there's a hands-on part because they want to see your technique. Well, I had the question portion, and I feel like I did like pretty good. I feel like it was okay. But then there was a second part, the hands-on technique. Even though they gave us a guideline of like what they wanted, I felt like I messed up during that, and I was up against another girl from Vegas who had more experience with the company I was working with at the time, and also she had more experience because she was in it longer than I did. But that didn't matter. So after I left the interview, I felt defeated. Like, I felt like I didn't get the job. I thought like, okay, well, I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna worry about looking at other spas that are hiring right now. But I didn't have to do that. So God blessed me, even with me not having like a whole bunch of experience. And I felt really nervous because of the fact that I came from another spa where I was belittled and treated very badly by the owner. So that kind of, it kind of ruined how I felt. It kind of felt like I felt really discouraged, but God fixed it all. So I got a call back after the interview and they told me that I got the job. Their starting pay was, God blessed me with my starting pay, and it later increased greatly, and I was so happy about it. At this point, it is December of 2020, and I'm going in for my training, and they taught us so much stuff that I was like missing beforehand. And the trainer, she let me know, she was like, you know what, I liked you from the very beginning. I liked your flow, I liked your technique, I liked everything about it, and I knew that you would had a lot of potential. Y'all, it was not me. Like, that is what you call favor. So you first have to be obedient to God. And that's exactly what I did. When he told me to fast, I didn't hesitate, I obeyed. So when you obey God, like he says it in Deuteronomy, like there are blessings for obedience. So when you obey his instructions, he does give you favor. Whatever door you walk into, if it's for you, God is going to give you the favor. And that's exactly what I had. I had favor with the trainer. And she wasn't there. Like, she trained me. And as soon as I was coming in for work, she was gone. I was like, well, where's so-and-so at? But she had already left. So she did whatever the Lord wanted her to do, even if she wasn't aware of it. All right. And at this point, it is like the night before I go in for my official first day of work, right? And I was telling God, I was laying in the bed, I was like, well, I'm like a little nervous or whatever. But he was like, don't worry, I got you. And he did. So it started out slow. The first day I went in, I didn't have like any clients, and I think he was just trying to get me used to being in the treatment room that he had for me, just getting used to products, getting used to like the system of clocking in, clocking out, everything like that. And then the second day, I think I had one client who later, I was so glad that she was my client later on in life, because later on in my experience there at the spa that I was working at, God just really, really exceeded my expectations with the clients that he blessed me with. Before I knew it, I went from having one client a day to having so much more. Like, I was at the point of overflow. I remember when I went into the manager's office, just so that way they could talk to me about like my performance there and how everything was going, and they were telling me that I was having so many new clients coming in that my old clients couldn't get to me. And I want to point that out, because that is called overflow. Like, God does give you overflow, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your clientele, whether it's in your finances. And I had both. I had overflow in my clientele, but also in my finances, all because of one simple step of just obeying the Lord from the very beginning. And I was glad that he put me in their lives at this particular point. I was there to encourage them when there was a death of a loved one or a family member. Like, he used me to encourage them, or he used me to encourage them when they were going through with their family members, or they're going through a breakup or a divorce. So at different points in your life, you're going to have a different role that God wants you to play in each season. And that season, I was there to just be their esthetician, but also to just be that friend or be an encourager to them. So for you guys, like, it's going to be the same way. And one season you're going to be the one who needs a friend to talk to, and then the next season you're going to be the one to listen to others when they come to you for encouragement, and you're going to be able to give them whatever God has given you in the previous season. There are some days where God would give me something to share with my clients, and they're like, oh, I needed to hear that. But it wasn't me. Like, it's the Lord who gave it to me. So not only did he bless me, but he expected me to be a blessing to others. So anytime God gives you something, it's not just for you by yourself. It's always going to be for other people that are connected to you. Everybody has a ministry. Everybody. Whether it's your family, whether it's your co-workers, whether it's your friends, you have a ministry. You don't have to have a pulpit and a platform to spread the news, spread the gospel to people. You can do that through your career. Whoever God tells you to go and talk to or to pray with, he blesses you when you bless other people. So that was my experience with the Daniel fast. Not just the job, and I did continue out the rest of the 21 days, but other things that happened, like God gave me dreams about other people who were seeking God for different things in their life. Like, God has blessed me with this gift of prophecy, so I'm glad that he was stirring that up during that time frame. And if you read the book of Daniel, you know that he gave Daniel the gift of being able to interpret dreams and visions. So it helped me as well, because anytime God would give me a dream or a vision, he would give me the understanding of it, or he would use me to be confirmation to somebody else. For example, there was another man in my life that I know of, and he was talking about how I didn't know this at the time frame because he was on a fast and I was on a different fast. You know, one of my family members, and he was praying for an encounter with Jesus, and I did not know this at all. They didn't share it with me, but the only way that I knew this is because one night I was sleeping and God had given me this dream that I was talking to him, and he was telling me and his wife that he was walking. In this dream, he was telling me that he had a dream that he was walking with Jesus and he was talking with him. So when I woke up from this dream, I told them about it, and they were like, yeah, that's confirmation because I've been seeking and praying to God for an encounter with Jesus. Can you just imagine that? Like, God is amazing. I almost forgot, there's something that I didn't mention earlier. I stayed at that job from basically December 2020 to June 2021. So God had opened that door for me, and I walked through it, and I was blessed the entire time I was there. But I later had quit my job, and I'll make a video about that later on, telling what happened and my testimony there. So anytime God gives you something or opens a door for you, just know how to enjoy it in its season. Like, whatever God gives you, it's good in the season that it's supposed to be in. And whenever he tells you like that it's time to go, don't delay yourself. Go ahead and leave, because he's trying to do something new. And the longer that you take, the longer it's going to take for you to get whatever it is that he's trying to bless you with, or to go wherever it is he's trying to take you. Okay? So if you have never done the Daniel fast, I just recommend reading the book first, and then the book. It's in the Bible, okay? Like, there's other books about like Daniel fast recipes that you can get like your bookstore or whatever, but go and get your Bible, or just turn on your Bible app and listen to the story about Daniel, and just listen to the Daniel fast that he did. It's amazing. And I would just say, once you are obedient to the Lord, he gives you favor and he blesses you with overflow. So those are the things that I experienced in my Daniel fast. I hope that you like this video. I hope that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share this with anybody else who is currently seeking God for breakthrough in their life, whether it's their family life, their health, or if they're just seeking God for breakthrough in the area of their careers. Maybe this is time for you to try it, okay? Thank you so much. I hope that y'all stay tuned for more.